Hi everybody, today I want to talk to you a little bit about the challenges of growing succulents in Michigan and Michigan weather. 2 days ago when I was going to work, it was -7 Fahrenheit and it stayed like that till noon. -7 Fahrenheit is about -22 Celsius, and that's the temperature that the weather has been lingering around for the last 2 weeks, and we also received a ton of snow. So really cold. It's been 2.5 months since my plants have been inside, and they're gonna probably stay inside another 4.5 months because it's not unusual here in Michigan to have freezing temperatures in May. Almost every year that has happened. Last year I tried to get my succulents out in May, beginning of May, and we had a week with freezing temperatures and a lot of them got damaged. So 7 months is usually how long they have to unfortunately stay inside. Then another problem we have in Michigan is that summers and end of summers can have a lot of rain and a high humidity. Humidity gets so high that you can feel it on your hair when you're outside. You can feel it in the house, and it can actually increase all kinds of different smells, especially if you have pets. So one of the best investments I feel like is buying a dehumidifier. We bought it last year and it's wonderful. It has like a 30 pins capacity or 3.75 gallons, or that would be like close to 15 liters. And we ran it all through the summer and fall, and every 12 hours we would empty 15 liters of water collected from the air. It's just in the house. So it's incredible how humid can it get. So during the summer when the plants are outside, I'm obsessively checking forecast in the morning, during the day, and in the afternoon. And I usually, before I go to work, cover plants or move them under areas that are covered if there is even 40% of chance that it's going to rain. Another problem is when it's humid, the air is not circulating properly, and then if you water plants, that water can sit there in pots for a while, even with a cactus soil mix. So probably I would need even lighter mix for some of the plants. So if we are lucky, we get 2.5, 3 good months. And sometimes when I watch videos of people from California where, you know, succulents grow like weeds, and I see them chopping them up because they're like overgrown, and I'm thinking, oh, give me those pieces, don't throw them away, because it takes forever to grow them here in Michigan. So there are some varieties that are hardy, that can survive those -22 Celsius or even less than that. And when the spring starts, I am planning to show you a few varieties of chicks and hens that I have, an agave, different kind of sedums that are outside. It's been a few years in a row now that they have survived the winter. And actually I'm going to show you this cactus behind me that is also considered hardy. So this big opuntia I got from a neighbor where I work. She actually sells different kind of stones for plants and pots, and she brought different kind of varieties of cactuses from, I think, Arizona or somewhere else, I forgot. And she gave me this one for $7. It was this tall, didn't have this top petal. Actually grow 2 of these petals here. What happened is when that petal was growing, it grew really fast, like in a month after I got it this summer. And I accidentally was trying to water and knocked over the other petal, like piece of it, when it was young, and it started to grow in the shape of a heart. So because it was a little bit damaged, I detached that petal. It's unfortunate that it was on the left side, so this is kind of, all of the petals are leaning right, so it's still kind of holding there, but I was a little bit concerned that it's going to lose a balance and be too heavy on the right side. So to experiment, I placed that other petal in the soil, and it rooted in like a week outside. That was the end of the summer. And I left it during the winter there to see if it's gonna get damaged. I just didn't want to risk this cactus because I just got it. But I think it's gonna be fine, and next year I might be leaving it outside. My friend also had this variety, and she said that it became like a bush, and it was so annoying to her because these little dots are actually a sets of small needles, and then they just get into your skin, and it's like really hard to get rid of them and can cause irritation. So she just pulled them out. But I really love the look of that cactus. The other issue I want to mention are these guys here. I had litops and fuzzy looking succulents like Kalanchoe, tomatosa, panda plant pulled out of the ground, and they treated them as mouses. They would chew on them, play with them, carry them through the house, pull them out of the ground. They also chewed on sansevierias, jade plants, until they were chewed so much that they couldn't survive. So they're pretty bad, and the only plants that are accessible to all pets in our house are cactuses, because nobody wants to mess with them. They have a security system on their own. So all my plants, unfortunately, have to be in one room, away from all the pets. So here is what I learned about which plants are kind of doing good in this environment. I can say that euphorbias have really been doing well since I started collecting succulents and cactuses, and they seem to tolerate really well heat during the summer. They actually prefer warmer weather, and they also don't seem to be bothered too much with when the humidity is a little bit higher, because they also need a little bit more water than some other succulents. During the winter time, they also do well because it's dry and warm inside, but if you don't have lights and you don't have a south facing window, it's going to be really hard, because some of them will develop bright green tops due to lack of light, and maybe even shrink in size. And the other kind of succulents that I have noticed as well is aloe plants. They're really so grateful and so easy to take care of in our environment. During the summer and during the winter, they actually can survive without lights. I had them by the windows, like a west side window or east side window, and they did pretty well. Agave plants haven't done that bad either. I noticed that plants that do struggle here are litops, different kinds of echeverias, graptovarias, and sedums. They do need additional light during the winter, and without lights it's really hard to keep them going. During the summertime they may struggle with high heat and humidity. I think litops were not too happy when it rains and they accidentally got a ton of water, and then it's humid and the soil is not drying out as fast. The other thing I noticed is that Stapelia family cactuses, they were not very happy under lights. And I have one video that I talk about succulent problems, and I actually successfully, I'm going to show you. So I have successfully done surgery on this Stapelia that was completely drying up on tops and really getting sick under lights, and moved it here by the window and gave it more water, and it seems to be recovering. You can still see how this one has shrinked and it's kind of thirsty still. So they didn't care too much being under lights and not having enough water, obviously. This one is also recovering, and it actually has some new growth, but also struggled under lights and had some dry ends. So hopefully it will recover here. I am no longer keeping under lights. So really it's unique for each one where we grow plants. I sometimes when I watch videos from people from California, they have much easier time growing succulents and cactuses. People in England have maybe different problems that we have in Michigan, because they have milder winters but very high humidity during most of the year, and so on. So you gotta know your own climate and environment and what works well for your environment. I have noticed that I pretty easily take care of euphorbias, and I didn't mention, a lot of cactuses are pretty good during the winter here in Michigan, because they don't necessarily need to be under lights. They kind of go under dormancy, so if you have a window with a little bit of light, they're going to be just fine. I have found that they are pretty easy to take care of, most of the varieties. So I hope this video kind of helps you get an idea how your conditions are and how they're different. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. What are the struggles that you have where you live? So hope you find it useful. If you did, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.